Welcome to the A2C podcast. We're your unfiltered ticket to the world behind high achievers of every kind. No ads here, it's just pure value. So do me a favor and share this if you find some inspiration, motivation, or something else in between. Authentic, no constraints, no limits. Let's go. How's it going?
It's good, man. How are you?
Oh, it's hump day, dude. Hump day after Halloween.
Yeah? Is it crazy?
Halloween was crazy, man. It was a good time, though. It was a really good time. So, dude, we keep it pretty candid here. We just roll, we relax. Before we get rolling, though, we're recording right now, but my team will chop this. Questions, concerns, anything?
No, dude. Nothing's off limits. I don't care.
All right, let's get right into it.
I may not drop a bunch of F-bombs, but you know.
No, that's okay. Like, your team hit me up this morning. I was like, it's an explicit podcast. I'm not going to censor myself, but you don't need to match my explicit energy by any means. I realize I still need to trim it back some. So
no, I think being authentically you is good. You know,
it's working for me for now. You know,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But I've had to trim it back some. But no, dude, this is about you. I appreciate you coming on. I know you've got a lot going on and you're busy and all the things. So thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate the invite. Excited to do it.
Yeah. Dude, are you ready for, can you do 3 hours?
No. Does it go 3 hours or are you messing with me?
No. So we have these blocks for 3 hours and we don't have to go 3 hours. When we're done, we're done.
All right, cool.
But the idea was to have an open format. And if we're on a roll, let's keep rolling. And if we're not, let's call it. But what I found, it's been really interesting, is most people can't open up to authenticity. Like, they're a little more guarded. And it takes a good 30 minutes to an hour to get somebody to open up and actually talk about some real shit.
Yes.
And that's what I wanted this podcast to be about. It's not about insurance or marketing or whatever. It's about successful people doing successful things. And let's get to know the Cody behind that. The Cody that like got caught beating off too much as a teenager or
that's what we're going to talk about for sure. I got you.
Dude, 100%. We're going to talk about Ham and the Hawk. Or Hawk and the Ham. But no, like was it basketball? I think I had seen that you were real big into basketball or something.
Yeah, I played a little Bible college. Yeah.
Bible college. Talking about Bible college. I want to hear about Bible college.
That's what we'll talk about. I like it. I'm in.
Was this like a Catholic school? Like you had to wear a skirt and there was rulers and all the things?
No rulers, no Catholic skirts. I don't think the ladies were even allowed to wear skirts. They probably had to wear like culottes or something. It was pretty boring, you know.
Damn. Damn. So how long did you go to Bible school for?
Are we starting, by the way, or no?
Oh yeah. We've already started.
Okay, perfect. Cool.
Yeah, we're gonna cut in where it seems good to cut in.
Okay, I like it, dude. That's good. Casual. I like it. That's unique. I think it's cool. What did you ask me?
How long did you do Bible school?
I was all 4 years. Yeah, so I've actually grew up in Christian school. I've only been to public school, I think once in my entire life for like a semester. Grew up in Christian schools. Ended up graduating from a school of 6. 2 were homeschooled. Only 4 actually went to the school. So it was 6 of us total that graduated at the same time, which is crazy small. Yeah. And then went to Bible college to play basketball and get a business management degree, major in business, minor in biblical studies, and started selling insurance while I was in school.
What kind of led up to you going to Bible school? Was that just like your parents wanted you to go to Bible school, or did you want to go to Bible school?
No, you know what I wanted to do really? I mean, I was cool with going to Bible school. My grandfather was a Baptist pastor for 40 something years, which is why I think my love for speaking, I think that's where that comes from. Right. And no, I didn't necessarily like want to go to a certain school. I just wanted to play basketball. Truthfully, you know, at that age, I'm like, bro, I'll go wherever I can play. I knew I could actually play at this school. There's other schools I could have went to that I probably weren't going to play at all. I'll be honest, you know, like I'm quick. I can handle the ball and get to the rim. Can't shoot with the lick. I'm an average high school player, really. I mean, maybe a little bit above average, but not great. And so I'm like, I can go here and I can play for 4 years. I can do the college thing. My parents wanted me to go to college. And other than that, they didn't care where I went. So,
did you go to college at all or no?
Did I go to, what do you mean?
Like, did you attend university at all? I dropped out. Like, I don't care either way.
Got it.
Kind of.
Yeah. No. I attended all 4 years, played all 4 years, and graduated.
Cool.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to university at?
It's Baptist Bible College.
Okay, Baptist Bible College.
Yep, Springfield, Missouri. I don't think I used that much that I learned, but I did go for 4 years.
What's your degree in?
Business. Yeah, business. But it's crazy. Like, dude, by the time I was 20 years old, I was making more money than all my professors. And I just Excel, like learning how to use Excel, like didn't really excite me. It just didn't keep my attention.
Weird. You can pay someone like, 20, 30 grand a year to do that for you.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So yeah, what else? It's my understanding. So did you grow up Christian then? Because you went to Bible school.
Yes.
Are you still Christian? Or are you still part of a certain Christian denomination or faith? Or like what drives Cody outside of, whatever?
Yeah, it's a good question. Dude, and you're a good interviewer. Like, it's casual, I can tell you're going to probe a little bit, which is smart. Like, I think it's going to be good content for the audience.
Oh, I'm going to probe, dude. I probe like I'm from San Francisco. So
there's a lot of angles we could take there.
Oh yeah.
No, I still go to church every Sunday when I'm in town. I grew up Baptist. I go to a non-denominational church now. My pastor actually lives in our subdivision as well. So it's kind of a crazy story. Like, I was about a couple of years ago, like, I had a bunch of my sales team walk out and business wasn't going great. And I think one of my sales guys could tell, like, hey, Cody needs to go to this men's conference with me. Like, he could use, so he could use a lift, right? Mm-hmm. And he just noticed it and whatever. And so he invited me to go. He actually triple dialed me on a Friday at like 6:00 and 3 times in a row. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I just got home. I'm exhausted, crazy week. What do you want? And he's like, I'm going to this men's conference. I'm not asking. I'm taking you with me. I'm on my way. I'm going to pick you up, and it's on my way to the church. And I'm like, I don't want to do this, but all right, whatever. So I jump in. Let me go the opposite direction. We weren't actually going on our way at all. And we go to this men's conference called Bold. And I had never been to a men's conference. I thought it was kind of weird. I'm like, why would we go to a conference with just men? But whatever. And so I did. And there was a couple different pastors. One of them said something that night, and I'll get into where I was leading to, but one of them said something that night that really got my attention. And they said, maybe you're just fitting in when you were truly called to stand out. And I'm like, bro, I think I'm called to stand out, like, I think that's me. And then he comes up, I go up and shake his hand and meet him afterwards. And he's like, yeah, I know who you are. Derek talks about you. I see your stuff online. And oh, by the way, I live in your subdivision. And when I go my walks, I pray for you and your wife when I go past your house. And I'm like, what? You pray for me? We haven't even met yet, And so I'm like, dude, I like this guy. And so now we've been going to that church. It's called Courageous Church in Springfield for the last couple of years.
That's cool, man. That's really cool. A little creepy that he just like thinks about you when he walks by your house.
True.
But I don't know. That's me. I was born and raised Mormon. They kicked me out because we'll get into that another time. But
yeah.
But they had this whole thing of praying for people, and it's another level.
Yeah.
So,
dude, we could have a whole episode on freaking Mormonism, man. Like, after I've seen some of the stuff online and all that.
Oh, we could. Like, we could. I will say this though, and it's funny because we just launched this podcast, and almost every single person has kind of brought up like my Mormon background, and I think I've defended it more than anything.
Why?
Some of the best people I know are Mormons. Some of the worst people I know are Mormons. Some of the worst people I know are Baptists or whatever, right? But
yeah,
it's a trippy. There's some trippy shit about it for sure.
I think, and there's there's some trippy stuff about everything, really.
Oh yeah,
we could find out.
Yeah. So, dude, on the topic of religion, I had heard this was literally just like
we were gonna go. I didn't. Think
we're gonna go there.
When
I told your team there was nothing off limits, I fucking meant it.
I'm cool with that. I like it. Like it's entertaining, dude. It's entertaining and it's challenging. And like, you know what I mean? Like most podcasts, I'm sitting here like I'm already asleep. Dude,
like, I'm so sick of the podcast, man. Like I've 2, 3, 4 a week, and it's all the same shit. Tell me about IUL. Tell me about this. Yeah. Tell me about the masterminds. Tell me about. I'm tired.
Tell me.
Like I'm exhausted in my soul.
Yeah.
So I wanted something different. But no, I won't say who because I'm not looking to start shit. And it's a small little world. But yeah, there was somebody that was talking about you, and they were like, "Oh yeah, well, Cody's a Scientologist." I was like, "Oh, I know some great Scientologists. I know some shithead Scientologists."
Nobody said that.
Right?
Nobody said that.
Yes, I promise you. I promise you this. Talk to me about Scientology, Cody.
I don't even know anything about Scientology. You know what I know? Grant Cardone is a Scientologist. And I'll tell you this about Scientology, even though now it's going to look like I actually am a Scientologist. Whatever. I do study like stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, okay, why is someone a Scientologist? Well, it's crazy. Cardone he attributes about 90% of his success to Scientology, which is that's asinine, that's stupid, but that's what he says. But he said that I was with a guy by the name of Dan at an event in Arizona, and he told me that Scientology is not a religion. It is just a personal development program that disguises as a religion to pay taxes. Now, you'll get different answers depending on who you ask. But I do think when you look at like L. Ron Hubbard and Dianetics and all the stuff that he talks about and preaches, like a lot of it is based on being a better person.
Right.
And so it's interesting. I actually do. I mean, most people would say Scientology is a religion. I actually don't treat it like a religion. You know what I mean? Because if that's a religion, then he's God. And I don't think that's true. Right. So.
Right. No, that's fair. And there's a lot about it I don't disagree with. You know, a lot of people, anytime Scientology comes up, one of the things people always start making jokes about is the lizard people. But I'm here to tell you, I'm pretty fucking sure they're lizard people. I'm just saying.
What the heck's a lizard person?
I mean, we're going to get into Anunnaki and Nephilim and you know, all the races, the Atlanteans, I geek out on this stuff. It's so freaking interesting. It is so interesting. So what else makes up Cody? Like what's some of the significant parts of you?
Dude, somebody thinks I'm a Scientologist. I'm like, who the freak thinks I'm a Scientologist?
I can't tell you. It's a small world at the top. And even, I don't think you know him, but you know how it is. It's a small little world.
Yeah. All right. So you said what makes up Cody?
Yeah. What makes up Cody?
Dude, I don't always know, but like I have a sincere, deep passion to do well and help millions of people in the insurance industry. You know, like
what happened in your childhood to drive that?
Yeah, that's always a good question too. I always wonder that because I do agree that most people, like what they do comes from that. Like I think something sparked that it happened. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that is true is like there's been a few things. I mean, one, I have always wanted to speak. Like, you know, I even thought I may be a pastor one day, you know. Now, do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. I guess it's up to God. But like, I've always wanted to speak. Like, I have a sincere, deep passion for speaking. Like, there's nothing I enjoy more than being on a stage talking to people. Like, I spoke 4 times last week at in-person events. I freaking love it. Now I don't get to speak anywhere for like a few weeks. And now I'm like depressed because I'm like, I got to sit in the office and not go speak. But I love that, you know. I think one thing too that like drives my passion for the industry. I don't know how far deep down this road I want to go, but we'll start it and see.
It's deep.
Yeah, exactly. With you for sure. My dad was with a captive company and got some corporate politics got in the way. And long story short, he got let go. He was making close to $1 million a year. He had territory of like 7 states and hundreds of agents and all that. Did really well. He's been in business almost 34 years. Like I've been in business my whole life. He started April of 1990. I was born July of 1990. And that happened. And it's crazy because like when I was an agent, I made 6 figures my first 8 months in the business as a full-time agent, you know, after being a part-time intern. Fell in love with the industry. I was even offered a couple of like sales manager roles to like move cities, but I'm like, I'm still in college or I'm just after college or my family's here. I don't really want to move. And it was interesting because I remember that day when my dad was let go before we went independent and he started Secure Insurance Group back then in February of 2014. And I remember thinking that like I always felt like I was going to do something big and was a special individual. But like when that happened, I'm like, they not only like moved on from Brian Askins after he did a ton for that company, but it's corporate America. So, you know, It's just part of life. But they missed out on a Cody Askins that is going to revolutionize an industry one day, and they don't even realize what they missed out on because they can't see the potential for me that I can, right? And so I actually made a almost like a pact with myself in that moment. And I haven't shared this very little. I said, dude, I'm going to make sure that every single person in the industry knows our name. And I would still say a majority does not know, by the way. But we've came a long way in the last 8 to 9 years.
Yeah, I'd say you're well on your way. Like in the, a lot of people would call us competitors, or because I run events, you've got events, we've got a master, but I don't, there's so much opportunity. There's no competition. Like some people, the people that think you're a douche love me, and the people that think I'm a douche love you, and whatever, it is what it is.
Totally.
But
and dude, I'm sure I am a douchebag a lot of times,
you are a fucking douche, but
yeah,
so am I.
How long have you thought that?
How long have I been alive? Wait, I was born a little bit before you. So it was like July of 1990. No.
How old are you?
No. What's that?
How old are you?
34. I was April of 89.
I knew you were smarter than me, bro. I just knew it, man.
Nah. But no, at the end of the day, one thing I've always maintained is you have to give credit where credit is due. And although you probably feel like you have further to go than you've come, because that's how successful people feel most of the time.
Amen.
Right? Like you've got to give credit where credit's due. You've done some pretty badass stuff for anybody, like for us and some of the stuff we're growing. It's like, well, shit, if we could compete with 8% with what Cody's doing, and it's not that we're competing again, it's a totally different product, but you're competing for somebody's dollars, their attention, whatever, right?
Yep.
So no, kudos to you guys, because you have done some significant things.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. It's been a fun ride. I do agree. Like most successful people, I think we've come very little compared to where we can. But I feel like we got so much more in the tank and so much farther to go. And it's kind of funny. Like even when you think you figured it out, like I'm still a dummy. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. But one thing I have learned is the better our team is, the farther and faster we go. And so I've invested a lot into staff over the years, way more than most people that do what we do, by the way. Like we have 3 full-time videographers. People are like, dude, how do you put out so much content? Do we have 3 full-time videographers in Springfield, Missouri that have all been doing videos since they were like 9 or 10 that all win film awards in Missouri and are really freaking good at video, right? And so it's like, dude, you start surrounding yourself with a bunch of good people and like that's what holds up a lot. You probably see this with a lot of people you coach, man. Like what holds up a lot of people is they're control freaks. They think they know everything and they think they're the best at everything and they can't let go of anything,
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a superpower of mine for sure.
Yeah, I see that. And then I see like the jading, they got screwed once in life about something in some way, shape or form. And all of a sudden they're screwed about everything else is just out to get them, And it sucks because here you are, like you guys are investing hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars into investing into other people. And you found a way to monetize on it, and you freaking should. A person should be paid for what they do, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, people want to resent that and hold it against you and sit here and say like, oh, because Cody is monetizing, or because maybe Carson's monetizing, or because there's dollars involved, it's not in my best interest.
It's funny, dude. That's such a good point because it's hilarious that people are like, yeah, but like literally the number one thing I hear when I go to conferences and stuff is like, I thought you were going to try to sell me something, or Cody's always trying to sell stuff. It's like, dude, I'm running a business. Like I just promote better than most people. And yes, also true. It's like if Carson has the cure for cancer, like my mom is literally sitting in Springfield, Missouri doing chemo right now, right? Like she had cancer 8 years ago. It came back. And she's got to do 2 days a month, back-to-back days of chemo for the next 6 months. It's like Carson has the she's a freaking warrior. She's awesome, super positive, never complains. Love her. And it's crazy because like, it's like you have the cure for cancer, but you don't tell anybody, Like if people think we're a douchebag, then we're really a douchebag then, right? And so it's crazy because if we think we can help someone, because like I've seen what you do. There's a bunch of people that like what you do, which means you're good at it, you bring value to people, and that you can help them with what you do. And so if that's true and you can help them, and then you choose not to help them, it's like, dang, dude, you got a cure for somebody and we're going to keep it from them, you know? So yeah, I think that every single person in the insurance industry should do business with us. And I think if they do, their business will improve. That's what I think.
I love it, dude. Because it's such a twist. Society has taught people that those that solicit, and somehow not being obscure is soliciting. Nah, right? But it costs money to not be obscure, and so you need to help me not be obscure because I've got the cure, you've got the cure, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So help us to help you, to help us to help you, to whatever. But for some reason that gets construed into, you're a douchebag, I'm a douchebag, somebody's a douchebag, because you talk about what you can do instead of just always doing that thing. But the problem is, and I love, you brought up Grant Cardone. Grant, was it his 10X stuff? Was some of the best stuff.
I got people walking in the studio hanging out with me.
Dude. Oh, it's good. It's good. Do we want to get him on?
Never, man. You're getting old, bro. Good to see you, buddy. That's crazy. Okay, I'll come over in a little bit. I'm about to do a 3-hour podcast, so you may not see me ever again.
Yeah, it's going to be a long goddamn time. But no, Grant, what was his whole thing? It's like you can't help clients that you don't know. So you can sit here and talk about how benevolent you are, how you have the cure for cancer, like you put it. But whose cancer are you curing if you can't tell anybody that you don't have a cure for cancer? And if telling people you have a cure for cancer makes you a douchebag, so you don't do it, where does the moral obligation begin and end? That's what I want to know. Where does your moral obligation begin and end?
That's good. That's a great question, man. I don't think it ends. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't found a place that it ends yet. Like, I think where it ends is like where I become someone that I don't like, I get so insanely committed to curing diseases that, like, in the insurance industry, and like, you know what I mean, that I end up becoming a person I don't want to become, or I resort to doing things that I don't think are right, or I end up pissing off all of our clients, or you know what I mean? Like, I think when I think that is too far, but I think everything else, I have not seen an end yet. Like, we're not even, I mean, yeah, we've got several different companies, and our CA and our event and our marketing company will do $8 million this year, but we're skimming the surface of what we can do. Like, it's not even close. So I don't think there's an end. And I still do not think I'm promoting hard enough. I just don't.
I get that. I identify with that. One of the things I push, so we do a lot with like NAFA. We do a ton with NAFA.
Oh yeah, dude, that's awesome.
And it's been growing more and more and more. And one of the big things, we'll go do like symposiums, and I love being able to speak on those stages. And we've been able to get a lot of that's been cool, is having NAFA get our back, so that me getting up there and saying cuss words on a stage earns a CE credit. That's vindicating. Right?
That's awesome.
But there you are with like 300 insurance agents in a room, or 500, or symposiums are never bigger than that. But half the room is a bunch of like salami hanging out their fucking mouth. They are so checked out. They're there for the CE credit, you know? And you're like, hey, you're not paying attention. You're half asleep, or you're writing me off already because I'm a douche and you're so great. But if you are so great, do you not have a moral obligation to do more? If your clients are so well taken care of, but you only represent like 1/10 of 1% of your entire community, which is only 10,000 people, by the way, or 100,000 people, or whatever, do you not have a moral obligation to do more? How many people are fucked because of your apathy, your ignorance, and your arrogance? And it hurts my heart. It really hurts my heart to see that in the industry. I think you want to talk cancer, I think that's the cancer in the industry more than anything.
Yeah. I think one thing too that is, and you might disagree with this, honestly. Most people, I feel like I've taken a different road in the industry than most people haven't took. I've taken it without trying to recruit anyone and bring value and work with everyone, number one, which is super rare, let's be honest. But number two, I've also done it without ever being caught talking negative about anyone ever. And it's like a core of mine where I think I enjoy doing business like that. Like, there are plenty of people that are out there that are talking about Cody Askins in a negative way. Oh my gosh, every Facebook group every day, right?
The Scientologist.
The Scientologist Cody, not the real Cody, but the Scientologist Cody. Yeah. But it's like, dude, I'm proud of that. Like, that's a path I've taken because I also don't want to give any supposed competitors, like you talked about, FaceTime or attention, which is why I don't talk about them. You know, I want them to talk about me, right? Because I do think that people negatively talking about you does actually help your brand. Yeah. I just do. And I don't want to help their brand, so I'll let them help mine, you know.
No, that's very fair. I don't disagree with that at all. So, Cody, do you feel like I've shit talked you? I gotta ask.
I do not.
I've said some very candid things to some folks, and there's some things you do I don't agree with, and I'm sure like vice versa.
Sure.
But I identify with that value. I don't believe in the shit talk. I'll say what I feel like is true that I can back up or verify, and beyond that,
sure,
conversation's got to be over. But
yeah. Dude, I would love to know what you don't agree with that I do too, by the way. Like, you know what I mean? I don't, because I also, I'll add this too real quick. I don't study other people in the industry or know what they are doing or what is going on as much as people think I do. Like, my team runs all of my social. Mm-hmm. I try to stay off of it as much as possible. And they literally do it all. And then people are like, hey, did you see what happened yesterday where that huge leader of that massive IMO got fired? And I'm like, by a carrier? I'm like, that bought him? I'm like, no, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I heard about something like that yesterday, and there was some drama. It was literally yesterday. But like you, my team, so I had somebody come to me, it was yesterday, I was on a call, and they were like, I don't do half of what you do. I don't do a quarter of what you do. And he was still like, how do you do what you do on the platforms? And I ignore most platforms except for Facebook. We just barely started doing a little TikTok and Instagram, but I can't stand them. I hate social media.
Yeah.
If it wasn't the powerful tool that it is, I wouldn't use it at all. And for that, that's one of my big downfalls, because it's such a powerful tool that we underutilize. But
I was stubborn and ignored social for too long, and then I finally leaned into YouTube, and then I started doing everything. My least favorite platform is Facebook, though, to be honest. Like, other than ads, I hate it.
Yeah, well, Facebook, I think for me, it's not, I wouldn't say a favorite. It's just easy. I don't like LinkedIn because anytime you're on there, the only reason people go to LinkedIn is solicit or be solicited.
Yeah.
Like Facebook, and then TikTok is all about like just bullshit.
Yeah. Do you have like a Facebook group that you like promote and have people join?
Yeah, we have a few.
Okay. I've also, my team thinks I'm nuts. I haven't taken that route either. Like most people, they've utilized a Facebook group to their advantage, which is smart. I haven't. I don't have one other than the occasional like small private one for like paying clients. But like, even then, I don't like them personally because I'm not online. Like, my buddy Joe Camper, it's freaking amazing. He's everywhere. He's super, active. I'm not, like I'm not the guy that wants to comment on everybody's post or like respond to questions all day. You know what I mean? You could probably relate to that. And so,
yeah, no, I do. So that was the thing. He's like, how are you in all these places? It's like, I have a good team and I'm not cheap. Like, that's one of the biggest problem insurance agents have is they hire somebody and pay them 20 grand a year or 30 grand a year and expect them to do a 6-figure job.
Totally.
But I have a really good team. And then I think more than anything for social media for me is I'm very, very pointed with my time. So like posting 15 minutes a day goes into a time block. I've got 15 minutes. If it doesn't get done, I'm not posting that day. If I need to invest in programs that allow me to post across multiple platforms at the same time, I'm not going to be a cheap little pussy. I'm going to pay for the program, right? Because the $100 a month I'm going to pay for it is worth way less than the extra half an hour of my time to go post that in all these places. Yeah. And then, I don't answer. I think that's one of the things we've done well is we've cultivated a lot of culture inside of what we do. And I don't respond to every single post or every like we have this whole group and this culture, and they do. The group runs itself by and large. If there's a moderation concern, I'm not out hunting for moderation concerns all the time. I'll have somebody I know, like, and trust, shoot me a text and be like, hey, was this not okay? And it's like, no, that's kind of shitty. I'll give you, moderator rights, and now you can just remove it yourselves. Yeah. And it kind of self-governs. It's kind of cool. But to your point, I don't love social media. It's exhausting.
Do you have people that get pissed off, or like they do something and you you kick them out of the group and then they get pissed off? That happens?
Oh yeah, all the time. We don't allow recruiting. We don't allow spamming. Don't DM. Don't. And we'll have somebody come in and start dropping links and spamming and all this stuff. And like, I don't even sell my own stuff in the groups. We may mention it, and that's my right, because I invest hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars a year to run all this stuff. Right. So yeah, if I'm running an event, I'm going to mention the event in the group. Right. Yeah. But beyond that, like, you come in, you provide no value to anyone, and you just start link dropping, it's going to boot your ass. I don't care. There's 8 billion people on the planet. I don't need your little fucking Peasley ass. But yeah, they get pissed and they shit talk, and now Carson Porter's a douche, which I am. But
you know what though? What I've learned too though is I don't like the reason I don't do the Facebook group thing is, like, I think I'm gonna end up with a bunch of people that I think I'm gonna end up like pissing people off or having to choose sides or boot people. And so I just don't even do it. But I think one of the things I've been thinking about as I'm listening to this is there's going to be certain people in the industry, which has probably already happened, I'm sure. I know it has, where there's certain people in the industry that are going to resonate with you just by the way you talk over me, or vice versa. Right?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Some of the things you say, you're never going to catch me saying, right? However, they're just values. Like, I just won't do it, right? But like for you, it's like, dude, that's who you are, so you should do it. It's authentic to you, and it's actually going to attract people into you that like that, because again, you're being authentic to you. And I think a lot of people with their brand, they try to be someone they're not. And one thing I like about you is you're authentically you, and you do not care if people like you or not. And then you get more people to like you because of that.
I appreciate that, dude. It's been a road. When did authenticity become something that you gave a damn about? Because teenagers and adolescents, young adults don't care about authenticity. They care about fitting in. When was it something you gave a shit about?
I think the way I was raised and how hard my parents were on me and how tough my dad is, like, I think it's always, true. So if I would have went to a huge public school with 1,000 kids, I would have probably tried to fit in more. I always went to small Christian schools, and I was typically, like, I wouldn't say cool kid, but like at least the kid that was like in charge of his surroundings and people he hung out with and all the things that happened at school if he wanted to be. Like, I was that person in most cases. And so I think because of that, and again, small Christian school, it's easy for anybody to play that role, I guess. But the people gravitated to me in some way. And so it's just always been a thing. Like, I've always tried to just be me. Now, early on with content, this is where the big struggle is for people. Early on with content, you watch other people and you're like, they watch you and they're like, oh, I got to do that. It's like, no. You can get ideas from Carson. You can get a title, you can get some nuggets, stories, whatever. But like at the end of the day, you've got to be you. But most people, when they first start doing content, they're the farthest from them because they're freaking out. They're sweating. They're going nuts when they're shooting video. And then they're like taking 42 takes. And so it's never raw and real. And so I think that's where a lot of people struggle is initially with authenticity is early on in putting out content.
Dude, have you found authenticity, especially like in a social setting, social media, or even at an event or something? It takes practice to be authentic. Authenticity is not the natural propensity of mankind.
Yeah, that's a good depth. I agree with that. It should be, but you're right. It comes with time. In a lot of cases, you become way more comfortable with who you are. The more you do this, the more you speak on stages. My first stage ever 5.5 years ago, I was paid $19,000 to like sponsor a conference and speak. And because I had my conference a month later and I was like, freak, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never spoke before. I may need to like learn. So I paid to get on a stage. And then I get on a stage or I'm supposed to speak at 4:00. I don't eat at all day because I'm nervous as crap. and I'm sweating like crazy, and I finally get up and speak, right? I was probably less authentically me then at speaking than I am now. That's also going to be true in 30 years when I'm 63 years old. And then I'm going to be like super authentically me when it comes to speaking, you know?
Right. Because you have further to go than you've come. You've come a long damn ways, and kudos, but like progress doesn't stop, you know?
No.
It doesn't stop. That's something, you know, I tell folks, I'm not even good at social media now at all. I am so god awful at it, but I'm trying, right? And it's really just been the last couple of years. I actually got off of Facebook and social media altogether. When I got in the business in late 2014, I didn't even have Facebook. I was told they wouldn't hire me. I started with a captive that I was told they wouldn't hire me unless I did something on social media. I had to get on, which is hilarious because they did nothing. They still do nothing with it. They hire Life Happens to automatically post for them, and you know, that's it. But, or no, it was Hearsay Social.
Which is insane, by the way. Like, I see these people that they're posting the same thing for every client, and I'm like, guys, I don't care if it's 14 cents. Don't do that.
Dude, and that's, I tell them, like, it's what I've learned about social media and the way EdgeRank works and all these things. At the end of the day, it's not just, oh, well, it's better than nothing. Actually, nothing would have been better. Because when you have 100 people a day choose to ignore you, the algorithms go ahead and say, well, let's just not even put you in front of the next 50,000, you know?
Bro, you're right.
It's kind of interesting, but yeah, so we go back all the way back to like 2015, 2016. I'm brand new in business. I was born and raised in auto repair, hence the potty mouth. I had to work on fucking Fords. How was I gonna speak?
Yeah.
It wasn't gonna be clean, but we got in, I started up this Facebook, and they told me I had to shave my face clean, put on a white shirt and tie. And it was one of the most unauthentic things I've ever done. But I did start doing social media. You can go back, and even though I got off and paused my account for a couple years before starting that back up 2-3 years ago, and we started all this, like we got on, I would do weekly lives. As soon as Facebook Live came out, I was going live. It's kind of all the things, and I sucked. I still suck. But I look back at some of those when those memories pop up, and I'll watch them like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But people don't get that. They don't get how stupid you had to look for so long to still feel stupid, but maybe not look as stupid now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because the number one reason why people don't do social is they're afraid what everybody else thinks. And the problem is, if you're worried about how other people see you, you're already being selfish. You're already making it entirely about how you look versus, okay, what can I do or say to bring value to somebody else and help somebody?
Yes.
And the thought of like what other people think and like getting over that hump, it goes away. Like when you first started riding a bike, like you didn't know what you're doing, you know? And so it comes, a lot of it just comes with actual reps and time. I guess everything in life comes with some reps and time.
Yeah. I always tell folks, like, you weren't good at making out the first time you did. In fact, I spoke at the Farmers Mega Conference down in Scottsdale a couple weeks ago, and I think I said something like that, like, no, you weren't fucking good at it. That's why you had a fucking pillow and you're making out with the damn thing because you're nervous about it and you're practicing and all the. But why won't you do that with your social media? Make out with your social media pillow and for a few years. But dude, I want to know this about your kind of coming up through all this, because here's what I experienced. My biggest naysayers through that practice period, and I'm still in the practice period, and I would wager you probably still feel the same in a lot of ways.
No doubt.
But it was never the strangers that had the shit to talk. It was, or the biggest shit to talk, at least. It was always the people that I thought would have my back.
It's funny how that works.
What's been your experience?
Yeah, that's been too much of my experience, unfortunately. Some of the people that I've promoted the most end up despising me the most.
Why?
And it's interesting because like Cardone said something years ago that stuck with me. I'm trying to think of how he said it. He said, if anybody ever makes you a god to them, you will eventually be the devil, because you're not perfect. You're going to make mistakes, and you're not going to do everything the right way. Like, you're going to try, hopefully. But if they think you're perfect and that you're always going to do things, there's going to be something, that causes them to hate you. And some of the closest people to me, even like a lot of the people that you see that are moving around in the industry and doing their own stuff now, most of them started on my stuff, right? Which is great.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that.
Which is cool. Like, I think that's good. Like, I think that's awesome. Like, also, do I expect them to just play in Cody's ball field forever and not create their own field? No, because I would do the same thing, right? Now, most of them ignore the fact that I gave them their start, and then some relationships goes sideways and they just like hate Cody now, right? And then like publicly talk about Cody to everybody else. That, you know what? I'm becoming more okay with that, but that was a struggle because I'm like, bro, I have let you speak at my conference every year since it started. And then one thing happens and like now you just like hate Cody and you're like doing everything you can to like destroy me. Like, really? You know what I mean? Because it's not my style. Like, I need to be so consumed with what I'm doing and helping the industry with what we're doing that I'm never spending my time thinking about how I can hurt Carson Porter in any way. You know what I mean? Like, I think if it ever goes to that point, like, I think that person needs to reevaluate the way they're just going about their life.
So is there like a common point of failure with these people? I know your team hit me up to speak on stage and I was like, oh, I could do it. And then they're like, okay, well, you got to pay to be up here. And I was like, fuck that. I don't pay to be on a stage. Right? That's just, it's out of alignment. So you were like, hey, I wonder what we do disagree on. That's one thing that's out of alignment in my values. And we can disagree. Like, it doesn't matter.
Well, hey, let me ask you a question then. So do you spend money on ads, right?
No.
You don't spend any money on ads?
100% organic.
Any money on marketing ever outside of your team?
We do spend money on marketing, but not in the way you would expect. We don't spend money unless we make it first.
Okay. So the reason I say that is like most people are like, I do billboards, I do TV.
Yeah.
It may not work for you, right? But I do ads, etc. It's like, okay, they'll pay Facebook to show people their face.
Right.
But they won't pay me to edify them and put them in front of 2,000 of my closest clients and friends who need their help. Now,
that makes sense. I get that. That makes sense. That's the first time I've heard it put like that. So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
For sure. But I get it too. Like, you're also speaking a lot. You're doing your own conferences. Like, the good news is you get to do whatever you want, you know?
Yeah. And we all do it. It doesn't make you more right than me or me more right than you or whatever. It's neither here nor there. But yeah, I remember your team hit me up and I was like, yeah, that's not what I do. So,
I didn't know they did that. I didn't even know they hit you up, by the way. So that's interesting.
Yeah, no, that would have been, I don't know, either last year or the year before for 8%, I think. And I was flattered. Like, thanks for thinking of me. But then, yeah, it was like, but like to your point, I think maybe one of the reasons I don't pay to be on stage is because I don't need to. We have so much that comes in organically but also maybe that's one of the ways I'm cucking myself. Here I am beating dick in a leather chair in the corner thinking we're doing good things, and I could spend a couple bucks to be on a stage and go further forward faster, you know? So I don't know.
Well, I always wonder, I think we all have like, and I'm not saying this is a limiting belief for you because I don't know, like you have to decide that, but I do think we all have like these limiting beliefs in our life of things that are like actually holding us back, but we don't know that they are, you know?
Yeah, no,
me too.
I agree with that 100%. So one of my questions though is, have you found like a common point of failure with where some of these relationships are blowing up where, you know, so kind of the lines I came up through, I didn't come up through the Askins line or anything like that, but I give credit where credit is due. And I'm happy to do that. You know, the whole Facebook group thing and I have to thank Ryan Stewman. I hired Ryan as a coach and joined his mastermind thing and then paid him as a coach and really has helped me a lot. Can I go further? Probably. And so we will, but I really appreciate that out of Ryan. And, you know, if you know Ryan or tune into his stuff at all, you'll probably see a lot of similarities between he and I in a lot of ways. That's probably why I identified with his stuff, right? Totally. But I can still see some single points of failure like, okay, that's why I'm having this issue over and over and over again.
Yep.
You know, if you keep having these people that come up through your stuff and then turn around and end up hating you or shit talking you or whatever, what's that single point of failure, so to speak?
Yeah, it's funny too, because you mentioned Stuman. Like, it's funny because and I love Stuman. If you look at me, if people look at me and Cardone, it's like, okay, Cody has patterned a lot of his businesses and companies and stuff he's done, conference, et cetera, YouTube, et cetera, after him, right? And it's like, yes, right? And what's funny is most people's like, that's what they, if they do talk trash, that's like one of the things they say. Well, he's just trying to be like Grant Cardone. It's like, dude, I think everyone should find people in life. Do I agree with everything Cardone does and says and the Scientology and all that? No. Okay. Just for the record. But, but now we can send this clip to whoever said that. But do I think everyone should study someone that is successful and find ways to improve their life by learning from other people? Duh. Right? And so it's interesting because like that's the trash talk that people say. Well, Carson's just trying to be like Ryan. Duh. Like Ryan Stuman's a successful dude that has built a massive Facebook group. He leases a jet. Like, dude's a freaking cool guy, man. Puts on a big event.
Arate wouldn't exist without him. Half of Ed Milet's career wouldn't exist without Ryan. Like, yeah, he's doing some things. Why wouldn't you want to emulate?
Oh, yeah, exactly. And then to answer your question, I would say it typically comes down to recruiting. Every bad relationship that's ever went awry is because somebody recruited somebody. And typically Cody had nothing to do with it. But the recruiting thing, especially with all these freaking life IMOs and Medicare IMOs, like, bro, it's a contention. Like it's a failure piece. Like it screws stuff up, man. Like that's why I try to make 8% a non-recruiting event. Man, the only negative thing anybody can ever say about Cody is that they lost one of their people or somebody liked my dad more than them or, you know what I mean? Whatever. Like that's true too, right? And it's like, how's that my fault? And people aren't hostages. Like they can go and do whatever they want in life that they think is going to benefit them. And so guess what? If I think one of my team members, like I got a 23-year-old that's going to make $240,000 this year on my sales team. If I think that if that person ever thinks that they can improve their life by leaving and going somewhere else, then guess what they should do? They should leave and go somewhere else. Now, do I hope they do? No, because I love the dude and he's freaking amazing. But will it happen? Yeah, it's happened hundreds of times. It's going to happen again, right? But again, like my dad, this is why I learned this from my dad too. Like my dad, back in the day, he would have these sales managers that would be successful, that were on his team, and they eventually wanted to earn the same position as him in the company that we were at, but they had to leave. They had to like get recommended by him and leave his agency and go run their own and start their own, right? Dude, he would always edify and try to help them get promoted, even if it meant they left him forever. And the reason is because he thinks that you should always do right by the person and you should never try to hold anybody back. And I think that's what happens a lot of times in life is people are like, no, but they're my guy. It's like, no, dude, they're not a slave. Like they're an insurance agent.
Yeah. I love that, man. I like that quite a bit. I'm liking you more and more as we talk here, Cody.
Hey,
we've never had a chance to like talk.
You too, by the way. I'm enjoying this. I'm like, dang, I should have flew to you. We should be drinking whiskey in your office, you know?
Should be, but here I am alone. And are you drinking whiskey right now or are you having some water?
It's a Celsius. It's a little supposed healthy energy drink style thing, you know?
Well, that's why you've got the body of a Greek god and I've got the body of an insurance agent.
I'm not alone though. We got a couple videographers hanging out in the studio and they're laughing every time you say something wild. Yeah. It's awesome.
Dude, I'll continue to this. It's only going to get more wild. The more Jameson I have, the more wild it gets.
I love it. So, is that your drink of choice? Is Jameson?
Right now it is. I go in these phases, right? Like for a long time it was just Woodford. I had nothing but Woodford all the damn time, and then Maker's Mark, but specifically the 46, and then I've been on Jameson for a while though, and I think why, Cody, is because it's predictable. Like I can get myself where I want to be, and then I know when I need to take a sip, and I know when I need to just shut the fuck up and put the cup down. And it's such a good place to be. Like I'm a control freak. So.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm sure we both are. I'm more of a wine guy, but I do I'm started to I didn't drink any whiskey at all until like this year. Believe it or not, that sounds insane.
Your life is hell.
Yeah.
Fuck. Just this year?
Terrible. So I started drinking old fashions, and that's how I got into it. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. And now I'll do some smoke stuff every now and then, smoked old fashions, all this stuff. And I did I like Woodford Double Oak. I like, Angel's Envy Rye. I'm kind of bougie. If I'm going to drink it, I'm like, I'm going to do it right. We could probably relate there. And I actually don't mind just, hanging out and sipping on some whiskey every now and then now, which I never thought I would say that.
Dude, I love it. My journey with whiskey is like I started at 14 and it's just been a long road.
We're like totally different people that probably would get along super well,
Yeah, no, I don't know how. I don't know how. My journey out of the Mormon church came with 32 pending counts of felony odometer tampering. And I spent years in Canada working in Canada while I worked through a 5-year plea of abeyance around that. But yeah, how I found my way into insurance, I have no idea. But I did, and I'm so damn grateful. So crazy how diverse this industry is, Oh,
it's crazy. Somebody mentioned the other day, which I thought was really cool. They said insurance is like all the people that had like the most screwed up freaking difficult lives, which I don't think that's been true for me, but I think that's true for a lot of people, end up in insurance. It's like last resort. They're like, screw it. I'll just do this, and then they end up liking it. And it's like weird. I'd go back to the alcohol thing. So the reason I like my family didn't drink at all growing up, period. Grandfather's Baptist pastor. My dad, also his sister was killed by a drunk driver. Also, my dad's dad they ran a red light and killed her. And the two, my cousins were in the back seat and they lived. And they were like 3 when this happened, My dad's dad also was an alcoholic. And so he would come home and beat my grandma and the kids. And so when he would come home drunk, she would take them all out to the back ditch behind the house and they would all hide in the ditch. No matter how warm or cold it was, they just had to hide in the ditch. And which is insane, by the way. But that's how I was raised. It's like, hey, dude, you got to be very careful, right? And so I just didn't drink. I started drinking wine probably a handful of years ago. I really like fancy red wine. I really do. But I've started to get into the whole whiskey thing a little bit. But that's why, I was raised to just be careful with it. So I just dodged it and avoided it. Now my mom drinks some wine. My dad rarely drinks still, but that's why.
Yeah, I grew up in a household that was very anti-alcohol, and they still are. They still are. And it's okay. But first of all, those things are tragic, absolutely tragic. You know what's tragic in our business? It's funny because you mentioned like for a lot of people, this is their last ditch resort. Mm-hmm. I always joke like nobody ever woke up horny in the dead of night, just like, oh my God, I love insurance. I'm going to be a fucking insurance agent. I didn't.
Yeah.
I still wake up with like the cold sweats, butt naked. I've got my New Balances on for some damn reason. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm an insurance agent. Where did this go wrong? But no, life is really good. I love doing insurance, but it's crazy because, and it's not just alcoholism, like this, just substance abuse is so prevalent in this business and like most sales industries. And it's heartbreaking. That's been probably the most heartbreaking part of my journey, like starting this mastermind and doing events and on the phone all the time with other agents and trying to help them out. Dude, there's times I'm on the phone with an agent. Literally, this was like 2 months ago. I was on the phone with an agent and I had no idea because everything seemed happy-go-lucky. And then finally he broke down and admitted he had the VA on the other line because he was he was drunk and gonna end some things before. And it's like, what the fuck? So it's so interesting that you mentioned, this is kind of a last-ditch effort for so many people. And there's so much, I'm not going to say negativity, but there's a lot of broken hearts in our business.
Yeah, there is.
Why do you think that is?
It's wild too, because as I think about an answer, like there's more millionaires in financial services than any other industry in the world.
Suck it, realtors. I'm so tired of hearing it.
Yeah. 90. Yeah, exactly. Realtors, there's not as many. 92% of insurance agents fell in their first 3 years. Only about only about a 8% success rate, hence 8% nation. Realtors, there's about a 12-13% success rate versus 8, right? So it's actually easier, but you make less money. Well, dude, if I'm going to make more money being in insurance than real estate, then it should, if it's the number one career on the planet for millionaires, then it should be the toughest. It only makes sense. The tougher it is, the more you're financially rewarded, right? Just makes sense. I don't know why. I think too, like, I think insurance people are naturally just become better at sharing their story and also the things that they've been through, because it helps them connect with people on a personal level. Like if I'm looking at a house, I'm not ever sharing personal details, with people about, what I mean? They're showing me a house, but I'm talking about, hey, I'm talking to you because my wife passed away a few months ago and we didn't plan for her funeral. Or, hey, because my parents are 80 and they're working part-time at Walmart because they didn't plan for their retirement. They didn't get an IUL from Carson Porter. Like, you know what I mean? Like then it's a lot of emotional decisions and whys that are based around story. And the best people are the best salespeople, period, are simply the best at connecting with someone on a human level and actually sharing some emotional details with them along the way.
What was your like if you had to pick one connection other than your wife, obviously, like, come on, but one connection you made in this business that maybe was more significant, more heartfelt, more heartbreaking than any other connection you've ever made, what would it be?
I've got a bunch of names that are coming through my head. One of the people that I've connected with the most that I still like, I was on the phone with him for like 20 minutes this morning, is my buddy Roger Short. So he runs Life Insurance Academy podcast. They get like 70,000 downloads a month on their podcast. It's crazy, like really good results. They've been doing it for 4 or 5 years and they've done hundreds of episodes. But we first met because he was reaching out to get help with some like leads and marketing stuff back in the day before I moved it away from me and had a partner run it. And then I took it back a few months ago. And I went out to Kentucky and we hung out and met. But like, dude, he's just a great freaking dude that I connect with. I also kind of view him as a little bit of a mentor. When I've got stuff going on in my life, I need some advice. He gives really, really good sound advice. And so I think that's one of the best, and we know an insane amount about each other. Like, I think that's one of the best connections that I've made for sure. And now he's a business partner in our agency too. So.
What was the catalyst to that connection?
I think the biggest piece of it was I actually drove 8 hours to spend the day at his office and like meet him and spend a couple days there in Kentucky. And I think the best relationships, that's why I love events. In person is just different. Big decisions happen at big events. Events are the most powerful things in the world. And it's because you're actually physically spending time with someone, getting to know somebody, meeting some new relationships, and learning some valuable nuggets. And I don't care what anybody says about virtual conferences, they will never be better than an in-person event. It's impossible.
Yeah, they don't. We do a lot of virtual stuff, like a lot, like north of 1,000 hours of virtual training, events, etc. in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
None of it hits like we're not even doing big events yet. And none of it hits like the little events we have that are live.
Yeah, exactly. I also don't think I'm doing big events yet either, even though we'll have 1,000 to 2,000 people at our event. I think I write down every day that 8% has grown to 10,000 people, and we're a long way off. That's for sure.
Are you big into the manifesting thing? Like bare chested in the mirror in the morning, toothpaste across your nipples, just like, I am a lion, hear me roar.
And then I purr into the mirror.
Yeah. Just wow.
I'm a big believer in writing down your goals. So there's a stat out there. I didn't create it, so I'm assuming it's true, but I guess, who knows? That if you write down your goals every day, that you're 900% more likely to achieve your goals if you write them down every single day. And so something I've been doing even when I first got in the business. I wrote down that I was going to make $100,000 my first year, and then I wrote it down every day, and then I made $100,000, It's just also what it is. All it is though, is like most of our success is created from self-belief. There's doubt, then there's belief, then there's some action, right? And a lot of times even more belief, the more action we take. Well, for me, I believe anyone can achieve anything, but most people never do because they don't believe they can. And so I write down goals every day, and that we're going to get 10,000 people at our conference and eventually speak to stadiums around the world and fly on my own private jet and all this stuff. Why? Because every goal I've ever written down eventually became true, as long as I kept writing it down. And so I think it's like a super success life hack. Now, can you getting in the mirror and saying, hey, I'm a badass, I'm amazing, oh my gosh, I'm confident, I look sexy, I'm really smart, whatever, like doing all that in the mirror, can that help? It's not going to hurt. You know, if it gives you more confidence, sure. That's not how I roll, but I do write down my goals every single day. And you know what? I kind of do it a little bit, I guess, because before I go out and speak, like I pray, and I'm like, you know what? This could be the best talk I've ever given. I'm gonna be confident but humble, and I'm gonna be vulnerable. And this audience is gonna connect with me better than any audience ever has. And because of my words today, they are gonna leave with more hope, inspiration, and I'm gonna transfer more energy into them than they've ever experienced. And so, you know, maybe I do it a little bit, I guess. So,
no, it makes sense. I mean, you can only talk so much. Fat bastard, right? Austin Powers. That motherfucker thought he was sexy.
Yeah.
You know, what other aspirations do you have in life? Like family, outside of work? Are you working on like a 42 pack or what are you trying to do outside of the business? The business,
yeah,
gets boring after a little bit. It doesn't get boring, but you need something else.
If I don't keep it lively, it does get boring for me. You know, like I'm really focused on like physical fitness, and so I think I have a torn abdomen right now. So I don't know how much I'm staying away from.
How'd you tear your abdomen?
I don't really know, to be honest, and I'm not positive that's what it is, but like it's super uncomfortable. And I do abs every day. Well, who knows? So that could be some of it. And I try to play basketball every now and then, so I'm not sure what I did. I found out when I had a bulging disc about a year ago, and the guy's like, dude, I think you have a torn abdomen. He was feeling around, and I'm like, well, that's fine. But then it's starting to flare up recently, so I'm like, maybe I do. But I hate going to the doctor. But no, I do. I mean, I do. There's like a routine I do every day. I think routine is really important to have a really successful day. And so I get on the treadmill. I do my 100 push-ups. I do some abs. I write down my goals. I do a cold shower. I pray. Like, you know, there's all these things.
Fuck cold showers. I knew we were going to disagree on more.
Yeah.
I did the cold shower thing for a minute. No. The only thing I learned about myself was that cold showers are bullshit and I'm just fine without them.
Oh, geez. I love it.
No.
You know what? Here's why I do it. And I know you would agree with the reason why I do it, but you may not still do it, right? I do it because number one, it wakes me up really well. And if I want to have a super successful day, I think I need to do a few things. I think I need to do some things I don't want to do, because if I'll do the cold shower, the phone call later that I don't want to make, freaking piece of cake, right? And I believe that my energy is everything, and I believe I control the energy of my entire team. We have 17 salespeople in the office. I believe I control their energy. But if I walk in and I've got bad energy and I'm off and I'm not totally awake and I'm not the best version of me, it's going to affect the whole team for the whole day. And so that's the biggest reason why I do it.
That makes a lot of sense. That's pretty damn selfless. Keep taking cold showers.
Thanks, bro.
The world needs a not dickhead version of Cody in the morning.
Dude, I'm telling you what, bro. Like, I wake up pissed off like I've never accomplished anything. And I think a lot of our personalities do. Like, I wake up like pissed off, like I'm not moving fast enough and I haven't done anything and I'm such a loser. And I'm like, and there's constant business stress, even though I act like there's never any. There's plenty of it, you know? And so by doing those things, working out, cold shower, all these things, writing down what I'm grateful for, like all those things, like it gets a lot of that out early in the morning so that I can be a more positive, inspiring version of me for our team.
Dude, I love that. And I love the fact that you admit there's still stress. Like, so many people start doing significant things and they want to pretend like, oh, it's all rainbows and butterflies. In my journey, I've learned the stress doesn't even diminish. The stress actually amplifies. My ability, my capacity to overcome increases, but the dollars attached to the stress increase as well. You know, I'm not stressing over $100 or $1,000 or $10,000. I'm stressing over $100,000 or like, oh shit, I've got a $500,000 problem I got to shore up in the next couple months. Right. It just amplifies and amplifies. So
here's an example. Yeah, but thanks, man. Here's an example of that too, because I relate with what you're saying a lot. I used to be the guy that was like, nah, I don't get stressed, you know. And maybe some of the abdomen tears freaking stress. Who knows? You know, especially when you're talking about your gut. That's where you hold a lot of stress. Anyway, I would have said I wasn't stressed out. But then May of this year, 6 months ago, we bought out our business partners out of our marketing company. I was running 8% CA, doing all my stuff, owned 100%, owned 51% of a marketing company that was doing leads, marketing, websites, funnels, all that for clients. And then I wanted to control my reputation better. And I wanted to, and it was like, to be honest, like that company, Secure Agent Marketing, I'll be vulnerable, it was losing money for the year after it had been making close to $1 million a year, several years in a row. It was losing money. Leadership was failing. I'll just be honest. And the employees felt like it was a sinking Titanic ship that they need to get off of or they were going to drown. Right. And my business partner, I went in one day and he's like, bro, I think I've taken it. And great guy, love him. Appreciate everything he did. But he said like, hey, I've taken it as far as I can take it. I said, well, let me buy you out. I'll put the two companies together. My CA team can help with the marketing company and I'll align it all together and just take over and do my thing. Because I promise you, I can fix this. And that company was negative profitability wise for 5 months. October of 2023 was the first profitable month it's had all year for that company. And I say that to say that, like, talk about some stress and some financial stress when I'm used to making some good money and making money on everything I ever did. And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm thrust with something that just takes a massive dump on my doorstep, you know? That was stressful, difficult, but it taught me a lot as a leader because I was able to show up and tell the team like, hey, I'm not perfect. We'll make a ton of mistakes, but I can promise you, I will do whatever it takes to make sure that this thing continues and thrives and becomes profitable. Because if a business doesn't profit, it's a hobby. And if it doesn't, I believe profit is actually more important than people. And here's why. Because if there's no profit, there's no people.
Yeah.
Everybody says people first. Dude, I love people. That's great. But if the business is failing, people are going to leave.
Yeah.
And you can't pay them. So I went through a ton the last 5-6 months, most difficult part of my career by far. And the truth is, I was probably getting a little arrogant and I needed to be humbled, and it did it. But it's made me grow as an actual leader that communicates to an organization during struggle versus everything always being rosy and perfect.
How's that communication changed?
My ability to just be transparent, but let them know, like I really, what I learned too is like, I communicate a lot with our organization. Now there would be times in the past where I would be gone for a month on a bunch of events and I wouldn't talk to the team at all. Now that's stupid. That's wrong, right? That's not right. But fast forward years later, I probably over communicate. Like if there's something going on, like the whole team, like I will shield them from a lot of the negativity if I can, right? But I do believe in being transparent. So like when I gave like a State of the Union address to like 60 people when I took over the company and tried to put them together and like brought everybody together, you know, et cetera, after the buyout was official, I gave like this State of the Union address about like, you know, here's where we're at. Here's why this is happening. I believe this is a major win for everyone. And here's why. Here's also the things that I don't like that we're doing that I believe need to stop, and they're going to stop. And oh, by the way, I think we're well overstaffed and that most of you are not going to make the ride. We love you. You know, we hope you have an amazing life, but we're going to be, and I had to literally go let 6 people go in my first several weeks of like taking over that company, And then what's funny is we had about 35 people on the operational side of just the marketing company. That's a lot of operational people, by the way. That's stupid, insane. And we have 3 left that were part of that operation since in 6 months.
Still handling the same volume?
No, well, close to the same volume, but I've been able to hire people I want to hire or bring my CA team over to help with client projects and stuff. And so we're the smallest staff-wise we've been in the last several years. We're at, like, we had more people in 2020 than we do in 2023. But now we put 2 companies together and I can actually like align the mission, manage reputation, only do things that we had a tendency with our marketing company, full transparency, sucks to say, but it's true, of just taking people's money for anything and we'll just figure it out. It's like, no. I only want to take people's money if we can do a darn good job at it. And if I believe that we can help them win. Otherwise, I don't want to sell the product. And so now we've fine-tuned and got rid of a bunch of products and shot a bunch of stuff in the head. And now we have certain things that we do that we believe we do really well. And so it's been a evolution, that's for sure. It's been super challenging, but it's been super rewarding at the same time. Like I'm happy and things are going the right direction. The sales team is the happiest they've ever been because now they've got me as a promoter and a marketer, like filling them with people to talk to all day. And so we got probably 12 people that'll make 6 figures that are already here that'll make 6 figures in 2024 that we're making like 50 grand,
Badass. Like that's one of the things I feel very passionately about it. It's that if you can't offer a path to a 6-figure career, you have no business hiring somebody. It's in 2023, 2024 almost.
Yeah.
Even CSRs in your insurance agency, you don't have to hire them at 6 figures. They need a path to it. And it might be performance-based, and it might be, my God, you got to give them the path. You got to let people eat. So tired of cheap-ass small business owners.
You know what? Here, to that point, that's a really good point. I totally agree. I think that's a huge reason why most companies don't scale is we carve out. So we pay out 20%. This is for like our inside sales reps that are not selling insurance. They're selling Cody Askins. Those 17 sales reps, we carve out 20% total commission. There's a 15% commission level, 16.5% commission level, 18% commission level as you move up. So we do something called level 1, level 2, level 3, where you have to do certain production to move up and you get an increased base, you get increased commission and an increased like marketing dollars spent on you. And you have a manager that's like 18 and you start at 15. And then as you do well, you go to 16.5. Yeah, but if anybody at 18 or 16.5 doesn't keep up that production level, they get bumped down. So we run our sales organization more like a professional sports team where I'm a Cowboys fan. If Dak Prescott, who freaking spews chunks half the time, if he starts doing a terrible job and we start losing every game, they're going to quit starting him. You know what I mean? Right? In professional sports.
Start losing every game?
But dude, we're 5-2 this year, But I agree. We've lost plenty, that's for sure. And
I don't even really follow football anymore. Like I feel like I'm too busy doing other things. So, but you got to make a Cowboys joke here and there.
There we go. I agree with that. Everybody else is, might as well. And so we run it to where like, dude, if I'm not doing well in college basketball, they're not going to keep playing me, right? And so the same thing with our sales team. And so they can bump up or down, but then above that 18 difference in the 18 and 20% that we pay out to the sales team, we carve out a 2% operational bonus that we split amongst our operational team that allows them to make, a bunch of our ops team will make an extra $7,500 this year just because of that bonus. So then they're also incentivized. We grow, they make more money. The sales team sells more, they have more to fulfill, they do a good job, clients renew, they come back, etc. Their paycheck grows.
Right. I like it, man. What's your biggest challenge outside of work? Like what, for people like you and me,
yeah,
there's so much of our life that's going to come back to work, and it's not because it's work. It's just if you spend 90% of your waking hours in it, that's just where your mind tends to go and your language and everything, right?
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer in 5 stewardships in life: physical, mental, spiritual, family, work, right? And they all take equal portion. Everybody says there is no such thing as balance. I call bullshit. No balance is for pussies. But balance is like riding a bike. Both wheels, all the wheels have to be moving forward at the same time and then in the same direction to have a balance, right? And if you can do that, like I ride dirt bikes, if I can keep both my wheels moving forward and pointing the same direction, I can be moving 40 miles an hour with that thing laying on its damn side and it still keeps moving forward, right? That's balance to me. Yeah. So with these 5 stewardships, like what inside of your physical, mental, spiritual, family keeps you on point, on task, moving forward, overcoming the bullshit? Just, again, 90% of your language is going to be work because that's 90% of your time spent.
True.
But it's all the other things that keep you on both wheels, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense. I like that too. I mean, that's good. Yeah. I think that in life, like, I just try to do as good of a job at everything I'm doing as I possibly can, and I think a lot of good things will happen and stuff will work out. Now, are there times where I ignore family and focus too much on work? Totally. Are there times where I focus too much on family and not enough on work? Probably not. But maybe I should do that every now and then, But at the end of the day, like I am constantly looking for ways to improve and evolve. And I'm also open. Like I think a lot of people struggle with this. Do I have a little bit of an ego? I'm sure I do. But am I open to constructive criticism and coaching and feedback if someone believes I can improve or I can get better in an area? 1,000%. It's why when I give keynotes at conferences, you mentioned the Farmers Mega Conference. When I spoke at the National NAFA Conference and American Nationals Conference, both recently. When I speak at those, I go back and rewatch every keynote that I ever give because it's like watching game film, And so it's like if we're actually self-aware and we audit things that are happening in our life, we typically have the answers. Like if you're like, well, my relationships are not doing well. Yeah, but are you giving them what they need? Sort of. Well, then there's your problem, right? Like we typically know the answer and we typically know which of the areas we need to do more of and improve at too.
That's fair. So where do you need the most improvement right now?
I would say, I think over the last several months, it's probably been more, I think it's changed now. It's probably, I always need to improve at work, even though it takes my primary focus for sure in most cases.
Right. But what's your sore thumb? Cause like work isn't the sore thumb. You wake up every day and you go to work, right?
Yeah.
What's the sore thumb? No matter how fucking healthy the rest of your hands are, it's the one thing is you're swinging across the monkey bars. You're like, God, if I could do that, everything else would be better.
I think physical and mental. I think for a while so here I think I was deficient in physical, which was actually which was making me deficient in mental. I think I've started to grasp those, and those have improved a lot the last few years. A lot this year. Like I went all in on health and fitness this year, way more than ever. I started tracking everything I ate. Started doing 100 push-ups. Like I did 100 push-ups 265 days in a row. Freaking forgot. Missed today. Now I've done it every day since. I'll do it 364 days.
You missed today?
No, not today. Not today.
I was going to say, get down and do some push-ups. What the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, exactly. No, I just missed a day, not today. Okay. I did them this morning. But now I think I'm deficient in, I think the last several months when I was, because of all the struggles I was going through, I think I was deficient in spiritual. Well, I've started to give that more attention recently because I think that's important in whatever spiritual means to that person, right? And then now I would say that I probably need to give family, relationship with my wife, relationship with my mom who's going through chemo, that I want to, be able to actually go sit and spend some time with her while she does that. Like, I think that I'm going through this portion of my life where we've had some success. We're making some good money. But I think that I have sacrificed my family and immediate relationships a lot over the years. That I think I'm also learning that I can juggle everything. You know what I mean? Like back to what you said earlier, like whether you call it like having balance or not having balance, like I think that you can be sufficient in all areas if you really want to be.
I agree with that. People that are like, you're doing too much in one, I can do as much as I want in every area as long as I'm doing an equal portion in every area.
Yeah.
Go back to the dirt bike. Yeah, go back to the dirt bike. Doesn't matter how fucking fast my back tire is spinning, as long as my front tire is willing to go just as fast.
Yeah.
You know? So that's interesting, dude. Really interesting. What do you feel like if you could leave today and go do one thing that was going to improve your family life? You said that was one of the things, your relationship with your wife. If you could do one thing that was going to improve it, would it be some Red Lobster, like a fancy Burger King dinner, or you know, locking the bedroom door? I don't know. What could you do?
We don't have kids, so that would just keep the dogs out. But
dogs make it weird.
I'm okay, by the way, with getting rid of the dogs. Like,
you ever had a poodle looking at your butthole while you're trying to do the deed?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
not
strange.
A poodle, but yeah.
You get what I'm saying.
They try to participate. I'm like, this isn't a threesome, you know.
Dude, shake a leg. But no, what could you do with, like, just if there was one thing you could do before you ended the day that moved you whatever increment forward, but it's forward.
Totally. I would say, yeah, because our relationship has struggled a bunch this year, you know, like it really has. Like most people would never talk about that and be open, but like I try to be open and vulnerable about everything that I'm going through all the time. And I think it's allowed me to connect with my audience better than most people too, which I think is why a bunch of people end up liking Cody, and then they get to know me and maybe they don't like me. I don't know. But I think most of the time that they do.
I'm liking you more the more I know you. Just so we're clear on that.
Appreciate that. And that means a lot. That's cool. But you also want to like people deep down. There's some people that are like, no matter what you do, they're never going to like Carson Ford. You could cure cancer, give $1 million to a village in Africa and create a school for 2 million struggling students around the world. And they would still be like, I don't like Carson. It's like, dude.
Fuck it. That's what whiskey's for, dude. That's why I decided it was a good thing at 14 years old.
Exactly. To answer your question, I think we can do better at date nights. We can do better at, she started to travel with me more on trips. She didn't travel with me for years. That was tough when I speak and stuff. Also, we started praying together every night. That's helping. Like, I think really God needs to be is first. She's second. The problem is too, I've always made people in my life, whether it's immediate family or my wife, I've honestly, over the years, I've made them think that Cody Askins, I'm ashamed to say this, but it's true. Cody Askins and my work and my career and my business and my brand and all these things is more, have felt more important than family. They've at least thought that over the years. Now, do I think deep down that's true? No, but the fact that they think it means that I'm portraying that it's partially true, right? Or that I'm not doing everything I can to make sure they don't think that. So, and that can get perceived as selfish. Like I think a lot of people that are building a brand and doing things, like they get perceived as selfish because they're just like furthering their mission, even though we get literal somebody from Kenya is in my Instagram DMs like, bro, I watch all your content. I thought about quitting. Oh my gosh. Like I love what you do and I'm not gonna, I didn't quit and I resonate with your story and like, man, you saved my life. You know what I mean? Like you get them. Like I get literal dozens of messages every day, people all over the world that are like, bro, your stuff, it has helped me so much.
Right. So it's like, it doesn't seem selfish, but it can be selfish, but it doesn't seem that way. I have a really good friend of mine. He's one of my best friends in the business. We came in at the same time, earned Blue Vase together, earned New Agent Achievement together. Like we have done all the things, and he's got a really successful agency with American National. Actually, that's the company I started with. I left them years ago, and it's got a great agency with them, and he's doing really well in one area, and I do really well in another. We were just talking a couple months ago, and we were talking about some similar things. He said something that hit me like a freight train, because we've been dealing with some things. My wife had some health issues this year. I had cancer this year.
Dude, I did not know that, man.
Yeah, it was some pretty early onset stuff, and so we've just worked through it. But there's been a lot of times that I could have been accused of the same thing, of prioritizing the businesses and all this stuff. In my mind, I never was. But he said something, and I've heard it before, and, those Northeasterners, they say shit in a way sometimes it just slaps you the right way. And what he said was, your priorities aren't priorities until you start prioritizing them. Quit beating yourself up about the fact that your priorities aren't your priority. And I was kind of like, fuck, Matt.
Good.
Like that hit.
That's really good.
That really hit.
Because we think it's a priority, but deep, like we act like it's a priority, but like deep down, we know that it hasn't been as much of a priority as it could have been.
Yeah. Yeah. Your motivation is where your action lies, right?
Yeah.
So however this podcast ends today, I'm going to challenge you. In fact, I'll Venmo you, dude. Like, let me buy you and the wife dinner. As long as it's like McDonald's value menu, we're good. No, seriously, take that lady out. She deserves to be spoiled. She's put up with your ass.
Amen to that. I agree with you. I'll definitely do that.
I mean, I can only imagine. My wife puts up with with me.
Dude, people don't realize how hard it is on the spouse. Like what we do, dude, it's freaking brutal. Like people don't realize, they're like, dude, I want your life and I want this and that. I'm like, dude, you couldn't handle my life. You know what I mean? Like, my gosh, the problems and the fires and the crap. Almost said shit. I guess I did now, right? The crap.
Yeah, you can't be like, I almost said shit, but I didn't. But no.
The crap, the trash talking, the people, the backstabbing, the financial stress, the huge decisions and risk that didn't pan out. You know what I mean? Like, people don't realize how freaking hard it is on our spouse.
Yeah. To come home one day and be like, oh, had a really good month. All these hopes and goals and dreams we've been talking about, let's take action. Come home the next day and be like, hey, CPA messed something up. I've got to cut a check for, 100, 200, 300,000 bucks.
Correct.
And, give me a couple more months and I'll get us back. Like again and again and again for decades, for a decade plus with me and my wife. It's brutal. Like like we talked about, problems don't go away. They change, they increase in size and volume and your capacity to overcome. I don't know. I'd like to know that about you though, because I really do feel like my problems have gotten bigger and more frequent.
Yeah.
But my ability, my confidence, my problems bother me less now. Something happens and I'm just like, yeah, fuck it. I'll deal with it tomorrow.
They've at least got to be bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've at least got to be bigger. Like they have to grow. Like you get used to managing stress and problems on a certain level. And then they've got to be bigger for them to get my attention the same way they used to.
Yeah. What's your biggest stress right now?
It was reviving the marketing company. We're not totally there yet, but hey, we made some money, so we're in the right direction. I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like, gosh dang, that's a great question. See, and again, I try to trick myself into thinking there's not stress and problems. You know what I mean? When, dude, everybody's got them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not trying to make your day down or in the dumps.
No, you're good.
But man, there's so many people that if they could just hear the shit you're going through, maybe they're like, the fact that my carrier increased rate once again or cut comp, and maybe it's not the end of the world.
Correct. Here, I'll give you some answers. Okay. I'll be vulnerable, and the audience will respect this and appreciate it and understand where I'm coming from. If I look at this year, here's what my wife and I have been through the last 6 months, because I've been doing this when I speak. People have been appreciating it and respecting it and connecting with it. My wife found out she had some health stuff this year. My uncle lost his business in a tornado. Lauren's uncle had brain surgery and given months to live. One of our companies was falling apart. Everyone was leaving, was losing a ton of money. Business partners wanted out, so we stepped up and bought them out. Then we went through a frivolous lawsuit and lost multiple six figures for something ridiculous. I'm not going to go there because I'm not supposed to. But because of that, started destroying finances. We had to let 6 people go when we took over that company. We have an insane amount of debt. We had to fire our top sales rep for referring our clients to one of our competitors and getting paid under the table, which is insane. Lauren's dad finished chemo for cancer. I was in the lowest spot I've been and personally struggling internally. I wasn't happy for months. One of our industry friends went and disputed some charges against us and said they didn't actually speak at our conference, even though they did, because desperate people take desperate measures. Lauren and I's relationship was truly falling apart. I'm ashamed to say we thought about giving up. My mom's cancer came back, which we talked about, and I stopped praying and talking to God, like literally like 6 months, right? Maybe 7-8 months now. But like, dude, everybody goes through stuff. But it's like, I'm giving a talk recently about what do you see? Like, do you see the struggle, the problem, the temporary struggle? Or do you see what you really want your life to become? Do you see the financial stress, the negative bank account, the cancer, the lost loved one? Or do you see the legacy that you can create in their name? You know what I mean? Like, what do you see? And for me, dude, I see me impacting millions of lives, speaking all around the world to stadiums, and positively giving a lot of people hope and transferring energy into them all over the planet. And I think I was called to do that. Or do I see the semi-baby struggles that we've been going through that everybody can relate to? And do I just give up and let those crush me and kill me? Or do I see something different?
So what was your moment of critical juncture this year with all that, where it was like, fuck it, I'm not just going to overcome, I'm not going to survive, like I'm going to thrive. Like what happened? I've had so many of those, like being dropped on my face in the business, going bankrupt, foreclosure, divorce, the whole 9 yards, and my upline not caring. I think they cared. They just weren't equipped to help, frankly. Yeah. But staring at myself in the mirror with sores down my throat because I was stressing so much. My kid's in the NICU. My wife is in and out of NICU, taking care of him and in her own hospital bed. And like, I'm staring in the mirror. And that was like a critical juncture for me, right? When I was like, fuck it, whatever it takes, within the bounds of my moral resolutions, I'm done. Yeah. I'm done waiting on other people. I'm done waiting on God. I don't wait on God to this day. I was born and raised more, wait on the Lord. I refuse to wait on the Lord, because if I'm waiting on the Lord, I'm not busy doing what I can do. And in my mind, a benevolent God is going to bless me after I do all I can do. And so that's what the Bible teaches this song of the righteous is a prayer unto me, right? I'm going to be busy doing what I can do. And that's what I do. And that was a really critical juncture for me in my life. And I have them all the time. I've had some more recent than that. But what was that moment for you this year, going through all these things where it was just like, no, like I'm going to be the Cody that I know I should be?
Yeah, dude, there was a lot of those moments too, where I was just like, what am I doing? Why am I doing all this? You know what I mean? And I think what a lot of people need to figure out, and I'm still discovering it, by the way, is what is your purpose? Like, I'm going to write a book one day that talks all about purpose and living a purpose-driven life, and I'm going to call it Beyond the Stage, because it's way more than the stage, even though I like to gratify the stage and focus on the stage, And I love that, dude, I was getting goosebumps when you were sharing your story and what you guys have been through. That is people want to relate to people and connect to people. What you just saw both of us do and what Carson just talked about is a superpower. That the biggest thing that's held Cody back from building a brand and connecting with people on stage is my ability to emotionally connect with them. And I have gotten a lot better this year compared to the Ed Milet's of the world. I'm still terrible, but like I've gotten a lot better at that this year, and actually opening up and sharing. And I think it's because I was just punched in the face repeatedly for months. And I was just like, dang, dude, like I got really humbled and woken up this year, and I'm like, I'm going to be more vulnerable. I need to be. People need to hear what I'm going through and this kind of stuff. And I'm still not enough. I still try to shelter it, hold it back, but I need to be. And I would say that, dude, there was a moment where, because of all the stuff that I was going through and like trying to financially recover from the exit of a business partner and take over a dying company, things got really bad a couple months in, and I should have saw it coming and acted quicker, right? I tend to think I can overcome any obstacle, and maybe I can, but like everything, not. And so we were like freaking negative $100,000 plus in a business bank account, and like things were trending in the way wrong direction. I'm having to pull savings and like try to do everything I can to like save this place that I just paid 7 figures for, that wasn't actually making money at the time, but I knew it could. And I wanted him out. Like, I was like, bro, I need to do this, because I went to my pastor. Here's one of the moments where it really woke me up. I went to my pastor and I get some advice from him and we were hanging out. He said, okay, so you've got a company that does like $5-6 million. This was just a marketing company. And it's made good money in the past and it's dying. And you're just sitting in another building, letting it happen. And you're not stepping up, being a man, controlling your reputation. My business partner wanted to sell this place, the marketing side, but I didn't feel right selling it because it wasn't as profitable as it used to be. It just didn't feel like the right thing to do. I would have ate me alive forever. He said, why don't you do what's right? Step up. Do you think you can turn this thing around? I said, I'll have it doing $10 million in 6 to 12 months. He's like, bro, then why don't you man up and go do what's right and save the company, save your reputation, and save all the people that are drowning? And I'm like, freak. So I didn't plan on doing it, but after that conversation, I'm like, yeah, he's right. And then literally within 7 to 10 days, we had taken it over. And it was a uphill battle, a struggle, a fight for months. But man, I wouldn't say we're totally on the other side of it yet, but we're on the other side of a lot of it. But I'm proud that we did that and went through that because it taught me a lot along the way too.
Damn, dude. I've got like 5 follow-up questions off that whole conversation. Are you down to keep going for a little bit?
Yeah, I can keep going for a little bit. Yeah.
Here's follow-up question number 1. So you're in that moment. You have that conversation with your pastor. You do all these amazing things thereafter. You go to work and it's crazy. You go to work, you reap rewards. Who would have thought? Like 2 + 2 = motherfucking 4. But how did you have that conversation with your pastor? Like, as you're telling your story, I'm envisioning Kevin McAllister in the Catholic Church hanging out, and the dude comes up and sits by him who he thought was a murderer, and they have this heart-to-heart anyways. Like, did he just see you were down, or did you go to him, and why? Like, how did that conversation even start?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We walk like we're close, and like we'll go get some ice cream or go walk around the neighborhood or something together because we live in the same subdivision every now and then. Not a lot, but every now and then. And we see each other every week at church. And I was just sharing some of the stuff we were going through and some of the things we were dealing with. And then we were over at their house one day for, I think we had dinner and then hung out for a couple hours or something. We were sitting in his living room, and then he's really good at asking questions, and he ends up making me talk the whole time, and I hate it, but it works. And then I started sharing, and he started asking questions, and finally he's like, bro, what are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So it was good.
But your wife was there with you when you had that conversation?
Yep.
What was her thoughts?
She loved the idea. She wanted to take it over. She was obviously very worried, naturally, because it was a ticking time bomb, and finances were a wreck, and so there was obviously financial concern, and rightfully so, and it got worse. So it's like, but she was on board. Like, she felt like it was the right thing to do as well, and so she went to work trying to figure out how to help make that happen.
Pretty badass, dude. It's pretty powerful when you're somebody gets on board, Yeah. Really powerful. I've seen that a lot this year. My wife has been, we're a lot newer at this whole, I don't know what you'd want to call it, but whatever it is that we're doing, we're a little newer at it than y'all are. And we're not doing a ton of, what's that?
How long y'all been married?
We've been married 12 years.
Oh.
But we've only been doing, the events and the mastermind we don't run a lead company. I thought about it because
it sucks.
One of the parts of our mastermind, you might actually identify with this. We call it PARMA, Pension and Retirement Maximization Appointments.
Yep.
Very, very small world up there. And the same people y'all are doing data sourcing through. Yeah, I've been talking to those like Rob, and I've been talking to for years, years and years. I used to run those appointments back in like 17, 18, 19.
Those are good for IUL sales too.
They can be. And we teach agents. So that's one of the little bumps off of our mastermind. And we've had a really hard time with, not necessarily with consistent appointments. So we do a whole buttoned up. We teach agents. We have like 40 hours of 15 to 20 minute modules on how to actually make money at these. Super granular. Don't use your words because they fucking suck. Use mine. I made millions at this. Just use mine for now until you've done it so many times, you can guarantee your words are going to be better. Until you can guarantee, then just use mine for now. And in an appointment with a client, I'm not using the F-bomb or anything like that. But here's my sales tools. Here's my fact finder. Here's the PowerPoint I use, which works better than Trax or Retirement Analyzer. Like, you've got to simplify the message. Here's how you extract the opportunities off your fact finder and recognize what's in front of your face. And then weekly live group calls, 24/7 forum, all this stuff. It's really comprehensive.
Wow.
And the idea is it's a turnkey. We literally just launched 2.0 of this, and it's a whole nother level. The hardest part to our turnkey has been the actual appointments. And it's not because of appointment volume. We have enough vendors, and I've got enough relationships with probably all the same people that we can get our appointments discounted. There's never a problem with appointment volume. There's the nuances of the automation, because that's one of the things we provide is, here's the automation, the snapshot, every email, text message, template, all of it. It's done. Like, you get it all as a part of our program. But it's the alignment of core values, frankly. And marketing companies burn me the fuck out, which is one of the reasons why I decided to build my little slice of my kingdom or whatever organically. And in a lot of ways, it's to my detriment. But at the same time, I'd never have to work for the same dollar twice. My persistency has never dropped below 99%. The only time it did was actually this year. I had a client die the first year of a premium finance policy, and I got back charged $350,000. It took me a couple months to replace that. But yeah, we keep good persistency, sticky business, all this stuff. And a lot of that's because it's organic, right?
Yeah.
But that's been a thing for us is the marketing. What made you decide you want to do like marketing, and what made your wife get on board with that? Because marketing companies, out of everything you and I are attached to in similar circles, marketing companies have some of the most prevalent problems financially and culturally, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I started out when I started on YouTube in 2015, people started reaching out over the years. I mean, I only had 351 YouTube subs my first year, so not too many people reached out initially, but took some time. But then they started to reach out, wanting to do business with us and help and all this stuff after we started building the channel. And one of the things I kind of leaned into was helping people with leads initially. And I hated the lead business. I still hate it, to be honest. I got my business partner to take over the leads and marketing so I could go do all the stuff I wanted to do. And I'm like, hey, let's start this company. You're a marketing guy. He had hit another marketing company. He got pushed out by his business partners. So we created that. He ran it for 4 years. Like, the marketing company that I took back over, right? He ran it for 4 years without me. Like, I was able to go do my thing. He grew it, did a good job. He just couldn't take it any farther, which is fine. And I was able to go do what I want to do, which is speak and do events and work with people who want us to promote them to our audience, like that kind of stuff, and manage social media for people. Like, I love that kind of stuff. That's what I enjoy. And so deep down, I'm a really good promoter and marketer. I've always thought of myself as a sales guy. I'm really good at phone sales, but deep down, I'm probably an even better promoter and marketer just because I'm super creative, even though I've never thought of myself as a marketing guy, but everybody else probably does. So we did leads and then for a while, and then now we still do certain types. But man, dude, you're right. Running a marketing company is one of the toughest things you'll ever do. I hate freaking selling leads because I can't control the outcome in any capacity, and clients either love it or hate it, And so that part's been tough. I don't know if you asked a question or if I just started talking. I'm not sure.
Well, no. So what? Because you had mentioned that your wife was kind of not all about it. She had her reservations, but she was really invested in it, right? And I didn't mean to take so long going off on my tangent. That's my bad. The whiskey, dude, it takes over. Fuck.
I need some.
Yeah, you do. I'm gonna send you a bottle.
There we go.
But yeah, what got her so invested and excited in that? Because like we were saying, my wife has gotten invested into what we're doing on the event side. She actually dropped out of school to take over the event coordinator side full time, and she's just killing it. If she wasn't doing that, we wouldn't run events. They stress me out so damn bad.
They're tough, bro.
Oh crap. But running a marketing company, that's why I brought that up. We've talked about doing our own, but we're not going to. I don't want to.
Yeah.
But you and your wife wanted to, and she was a big part of that decision you mentioned. What was some of the catalyst to that? Because it's not a happy business a lot of times. You have no control.
Yeah, it sucks. I think you need to only do things that you're passionate about and excited about. Like we'll eventually not do leads at some point. Like right now, I've had to. It's a means to an end. It's a good portion of our revenue. Like if we do $600,000, we'll do 150 of it in leads, probably. You know what I mean? So it's a good chunk still. She leaned in because she knew that I could do a better job and grow it, because that's what I'd done before I got him involved and gave him that part. She also didn't get along perfectly with our business partner back then. So she liked the idea of like us being able to do it on our own again, and she is a control freak when it comes to finances. And so she runs all the financial side, bank accounts, QuickBooks, all that kind of stuff.
That makes sense. So it's a means to an end. Is it an exit strategy, or we're in it now and we can make revenue on it now, and so we'll do that and maybe exit it later and do something else? Or what's kind of the mentality there?
We may put it together with Cody Askins LLC. If we do that, we won't sell it because it's my name and I'm not going to sell it. But could we grow just the marketing side and keep it separate and sell it for more than we paid? Yeah, we could. But it's also kind of turning into a lifestyle company that can get back to paying us, $1 million, couple $1 million a year, So it's like, it's hard to let go of that too.
Yeah, no, I get that. Do you have any regrets, or are you like really happy about building your brand off of your name, the Cody Askins, the CA brand? Like Azelphi Taylor, same problem. There's a lot of people that have this concern that it's not exitable. There's not an exit on it because it's so attached to you through your name. Is that a concern of yours at all, or what's in the future of CA?
It's a good question. I have people that have carriers and huge carriers and some big private equity firms and stuff that have tried to like buy what we're doing, buy the conference, buy this different stuff. I'm not. We're so far from where we're going to be that like it's too early for one. Two, I probably will never sell Cody Askins LLC. Will I ever take like a sizable investment into it? Maybe, right? But I think one of the big plays is like I'm not involved in the day-to-day operations of our agency that does life, Medicare, and annuities. We have a couple thousand agents across the country. I'm a small business partner in that. I think there's a huge amount of potential there. I think we'll take that company to $100 million for sure. I'm very confident in that too. And then one of the things I want to eventually do is I want to eventually start, like, dude, I studied Cardone and all these other people, man. Like, he's got Cardone Capital. Like, I'm not saying I want to start a real estate fund, maybe eventually, but I think one of the things that we've acquired 5 P&C agencies in Southwest Missouri, and it's profitable, doing $150,000 a month or whatever in revenue. Like it's been cool and good. Do a couple million bucks in revenue. I would like to start like maybe a fund, maybe just have business partners in groups of agencies. I don't know, but like I want to eventually go buy agencies with other people in the industry and go buy a ton of P&C agencies. Like, I think that's a next play for me once I get all this stable and under control, is in the next few years start like some type of acquisition company and do a lot more of that, because I do enjoy that a lot. Like, it challenges me. It's exciting. I don't know that world real well, so I like leaning into new worlds and new stuff.
I like acquisition. I think right now in the personal lines property casualty space, it's probably one of the best opportunities for acquisition that's ever existed. You're going to have some profitability concerns over the next 1 to 3 years. Yeah. But as regulations trim back, as carriers figure some things out, that opens up and you can buy at a discount. Like, you've got books that were going at 3.5 on revenue a year ago, 2 years ago, going at 1 to 1.5 right now in the same book.
Yeah. And the average age is 59. So there's just so many people that own P&C agencies that freaking hate them and don't want to operate them anymore, or they want to retire. One of the two. A lot of people just don't like running them. They suck. It takes time to build it. And in a P&C world, I'd much rather buy it than build it all day.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I mean, we'll write the business while we're there, but sure, I won't. My partners will.
Yeah,
like you. I own a part of a piece, but I think they thought I was supposed to be the pretty guy out front somewhere. It's like, you chose an ugly motherfucker to be the pretty guy, but they're doing all the work, and I have to give them kudos for that.
That's cool. That is awesome.
But yeah, kind of similar stuff. What do you think is the biggest? So we talked about cancers earlier. What's the biggest cancer in insurance right now? The biggest problem?
The biggest problem in insurance. I think the biggest problem that most people ignore is there's a ton of people, like everybody would say, leads and prospecting, which that's always going to be a problem. It's never going to be solved. It's never going to be perfect. Everybody does want to get in front of people different ways. Like, that's what makes insurance attractive. It's very there's people that are creative that tend to win. I think that one of the things that I think the lack of brand that happens in insurance. But here's what I mean. There's a lot of agencies and people that don't leverage social, don't care about building a name and putting yourself out there. I think it's the best way to scale a company. And I think it's also a phenomenal way to recruit and build an agency too, that most people ignore. Even though I don't use it to solely recruit, our agencies recruited a bunch of people because of it, even though it's just like a passive side thing that just happens, right? When they build relationships with you. I think most people ignore that piece. I think our industry is so far behind in that arena. People think I've done an amazing job just because I've been putting up videos for 8 years and I spent millions of dollars doing it and creating a conference and all this stuff. It's like, dude, it's just because other people weren't doing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not because I'm great at it. It's just that it was a gap.
Yeah. 8 years ago, there was nobody doing it. Even now, like, there's not a lot of people doing it. And the people that do it, they do it for 6 months or a year, maybe 2 years, and then it's gone.
Yep. Yeah. It's like 75% of podcasts don't even make it like 50 episodes or something, like, it's crazy.
Which is crazy. So I mean, full transparency, and I told you this when I reached out and was like, hey, come on the podcast. We just barely launched this. I had another one that we had hundreds of episodes and I deleted it because it was mostly just angry ranting, and dude, COVID was a bad time. But no, this one, like, we literally just launched it. We only have, I think, 5 or 6 episodes up right now. We've got 70 or 80 episodes booked to record right now. We're booking out 4 or 5 months and recording like 2 to 3 per week, which is exhausting, by the way. My liver is dying. I don't know how the fuck I'm going to handle this, but
I don't either. I do 2 or 3 a week too, and it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. I don't do them this long. They're about 20 to 30 minutes normally, unless they're in person. But you're right. It's exhausting.
Yeah. This one is a different podcast. This is different than anything else I've ever done. We have another one we're launching that's industry specific, and we're talking like 20 to 30 minute episodes, and it'd be much more mainline. It's probably going to push our narrative more, and we'll make more money on it. I'm not going to make shit on this. This podcast it's the same reason I started the mastermind and everything else. It's because I'm sick of the bullshit, and I've got I'm not rich, but I've got the money to spend some money on not doing bullshit, I guess.
Yeah.
So anyways, I don't know. What's your passion project? What do you spend money on that you're probably not going to see a return, but it doesn't matter because you're enjoying it. Dang.
There's my problem.
Or do you need to have money? Like it's fun. You don't have to have a passion project.
I don't know. I think I need one a little bit more sometimes, you know? I think here's one of the things I was thinking about too, then I'll try to circle back and answer that is I think all the people that have problems with each other, if they spent a couple hours on a podcast together and they were vulnerable and shared, they're going to end up liking each other. You know what I mean? Like most of the time that's what'll happen, but they will never get in the same room. They'll never talk it out. They'll never do this. Like, dude, I don't, even if people are like publicly saying, I freaking hate Cody, and then they ask me to be on their podcast, I'm still going to get on it. You know what I mean? Like that did not happen for the record in this example. Never heard Carson say anything negative about Cody. Okay. Even if he did, like, dude, great. Right. But if more people like spend time getting to know each other, it's amazing what would happen. It is. And then as far as a passion thing, like, I don't know. I mean, I like flying. I was thinking about getting my private pilot license and spending some money on that for a minute. I think I'm a little bit too ADHD for that. I'll leave that to the professionals to fly, and I'll just sit in the back and work. But I want to fly private a lot more. We chartered a little bit here and there. We did like a 5-city, 30-passenger tour where we chartered a 30-passenger jet to 5 different cities in 1 week. It was like a $500,000 week. It was stupid, but it was one of the greatest joys of my life ever. Like, it was a blast. So I like doing crazy stuff like that. I think one of the things that I've struggled with the most, and that I think I've got to get better at, is I am okay because of the brand and the evolution of the brand and the awareness and the reach that the stuff we do provides. I've been okay losing too much money on like big projects over the years, you know? And it goes back to like, has it helped where we get to where we are? Yeah. But Warren Buffett's number one rule is never lose money.
Yeah. Don't lose.
And I've been okay losing money over the years because I was like, I'll financially recover. I'll fix it. You know what I mean? I'll make it work, whatever. I think that's the next evolution of Cody is like, when I do something, I execute it super well and I always make money. Because for the first 3 years of 8%, we lost a huge ton of money.
Oh, dude, I like full transparency. That's where we're at in our stuff right now. We lose.
I'm sure.
I mean, we're doing, I don't know, somewhere between 750 to $1 million a year right now between the mastermind and the events. We're not big yet. We've been at this for just over 2 years, 2.25 years.
That's cool.
And we lose money at it. Right. Since day one. We also built everything we do to scale. So like the mastermind, I could add 1,000 people tomorrow without batting an eyelash. Systems, processes, automation, awesome. Everything. We could plug them in, but we haven't seen that dump in, right? And so I spend hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars. And that's, to your point, maybe one of my biggest failures is like, this is my passion project to a degree. I never intended to make money on this. I make money running my own firm and I have all these other businesses. But where is my moral obligation life? I have to justify, I'm going to walk out that door. I've got the sexiest wife. I've got these 2 beautiful boys. They are my best friends on earth. And if I'm not going to spend time with them, then I better goddamn well like have some tangible metric where I justified my time out of that home. So I'm going to dump all this into this and not move forward. I'm starting to feel a moral obligation to something better. So I really appreciate you actually saying that, because it's hitting pretty damn hard and it's grinding a gear. I don't need more people to give me, I don't need people to give me more money, and we're not out to rake people over the coals. But I've got moral obligations, and somebody else's, the mental masturbation of their own cuckoldry while they sit there and do fucking nothing with their life. That can't continue to be my problem. And it can't continue to be what I get off on either, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting.
That's strong, bro. That's really good.
It's a lot of bad words is what it is. It's a lot of bad words. Are you going to be able to go to church on Sunday, Cody?
Not now. No. If I was Catholic, I would definitely be going to the confession. know?
Have your pastor call me. We'll have
Even
it out
though
for a minute.
maybe this was a confessional for me. I think it's what it turned into, you know, even though it was a freaking amazing episode, by the way. This was one of the funnest podcasts I've ever been on. Probably the funnest, just because you kept it very light and real. And you weren't like, hey, when it comes to objections, what do you think? I'm like, if I get asked that one more flipping time, bro, like, you know what I mean? Like all the basic stuff. I'm like, really? That's the question you want to ask, you know?
But that's the thing, dude. You've been asked that so many times. You have so much of that content out there. All somebody has to do is not be a lazy piece of shit and use the search bar.
Correct.
And they can find it. I want to know about the other things. Like, does Cody Askins have herpes? Does he have rickets? I don't know.
Not yet.
Let's figure out what makes you tick.
Yeah, most of the stuff we've talked about, you can't find on a YouTube video. So that you did a good job with that.
I appreciate that. We'll wrap it up. I appreciate your time and everything. I have 2 more questions and we're done. I swear to God. Okay. Number 1, what's the most significant and what's the most devastating thing that's ever happened in your entire life?
Gosh dang it, that's tough. Pick one thing. Jeez. I would say the biggest thing that's ever happened, I really believe it's pulling off 8%. You know, like that has been a bear. You know, we spend $1 million a year on that thing now. We lose money almost every year, or at least come close. You know, we always lose a little at least, but it just depends on how much. Pulling that off from scratch and doing 6 events in the last, 5 years-ish, a little over, is still surprising, but it was like, I love that you're doing the conference because it's like, dude, it's the most amazing brand lift and community builder that most people ignore, and they just don't have the guts or the balls to do it. Like they just don't. You do. They don't. There's been a lot of events jump up and spark up in the industry because Cody Askins started doing one. Dude, they should have been sooner. Shouldn't have been Cody Askins to start doing them. And were there plenty of other events? Sure, but most of the events in the insurance industry are flippant boring and they suck. And they might as well have a piano playing in the corner because it's like a funeral home. Like people are asleep. Old people are on newspapers during the conference. You know what I mean? Like it sucks, man.
Right.
And then the other piece, because I mean, normally over my story, I would have said like 100, like making 6 figures at 20. I think that was one of the most impressive things I've ever done because I was cold calling and cold door knocking, selling life insurance on a 35% commission level. I made 117 grand at 20 while I was in college playing basketball with no time, right? Could have made a bunch of excuses, never done sales before, whatever. And it was cold. I think that was one of the most impressive things I've ever done. But also, I don't want to live a life where 20 years old was the most impressive thing I ever did. You know what I mean? But now the stuff that is impressive to a lot of people isn't impressive to me either. Like you talked about. And then the other piece, I would say, man, dude, I think the toughest, the most difficult part of my life, period, has been the last 6 months for a bunch of reasons. And the business being a massive part of that. Like I named a bunch of stuff. Like, frankly, I've had people that are like, Cody, you take such risk and you don't think you can lose because life's never punched you in the gut. And frankly, I had an amazing childhood. I have amazing parents. I don't have a crazy homeless to millionaire story. I just don't. Could I connect better with people if I ate pizza out of trash cans? Probably so. But it ain't true, so I'm not going to make it up. Everybody else can, people that even weren't homeless, they're homeless now. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, were you really homeless or is that just like sound good, And so I think that I had it pretty easy. I was making 6 figures every year I've ever been in sales. Then I get into it and I get into this stuff and the brand grows and people resonate with it and they're attracted to what we're doing. And, they think that we're bringing value and helping at least a large percentage. And we're having success with companies and everything, we're making a bunch of money. And like, I hate to say it because it's going to sound arrogant, but I don't mean it that way. Like most of the things that Cody Askins have touched has turned into gold. Last 6 months, that was not the case. Now, do I think I can still turn it into gold? Yeah. But I think all the crap I had to go through, it's going to make me a way better human at the same time, because you could talk about the relationships and the cancer and the business and all other stuff, Yeah. So there's your answer, I guess.
Pretty significant, dude.
Thanks.
That's pretty damn significant.
Appreciate that.
So last question. I'll let you go. Swear to God, you can go get some Taco Bell. I know you've got.
I'm worried about what this question is because you saved it for the end.
No, this is an easy one. But if you walked out of your podcast studio and, you got all your employees around you, your cronies, your videographers sitting in the corner laughing, sucking down Flintstones push pops, and they finally go away. It's the end of the day. Nobody's around. You light up a cigarette. You're like, I don't smoke, by the way, but it's just a great visual. And then you choke on that cigarette butt, you die.
Got it.
And what you shared right now was the last thing you could have possibly shared to anyone. To make any amount of significance, anything left in your life that you could have given in that respect, at least. Obviously, you've got your wife and all these other things. But in this respect, in this regard, what would you want to leave behind if you're going to choke on a cigarette butt 5 minutes from now?
I think my answer is going to change in 10, 20, 30, 40 years. But I think now is I would want hundreds of thousands of people in the insurance industry in the U.S. and I've spoke to 4,000 agents in the Philippines. So I guess agents all over the country, all over the world, I would want them to say that dude had an impact on my life. He inspired me. He helped me. And he did as much for new insurance agents as anyone in the world ever has without having to get an override on me. And he gave, and he gave, and he gave. Then he choked on a cigarette.
And that's how it ends.
That's how it ends.
That's the way the cookie crumbles. Dude, Cody, thank you for being here, dude.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you, man. I got a newfound respect for you that I didn't have. I've been impressed by what you're doing. I know you're going to crush it with your conference, and I appreciate you having me on your podcast.
No, likewise, man. Thanks so much for tuning into the A2C podcast today. I appreciate you joining me on this unfiltered journey into the minds of remarkable people. I hope you enjoyed the candid conversations, the authenticity, and the insights shared. Remember, this is an ad-free podcast, so your support in sharing this with others, well, it means the world to me. If you want to stay connected with me and the podcast and be the first to know about our upcoming guests and episodes, follow me, the podcast, whatever, on social media, A2C Podcast on Facebook, and we'll get our Instagram and everything else set up. At cporter389 is my own personal stuff on all platforms. Your feedback, your ideas, they're invaluable to me. Drop me a message, drop the podcast a message, share your thoughts, let me know who you'd like to hear from next. Together, we're on this mission to explore all the facts of success and life, but be candid as hell about it. So I appreciate you. Come find me, come follow me, and let's do some awesome things together. Appreciate y'all.